Hello, hello,
Hello,
hello, and welcome
everyone.
to another episode of the Loc'd Legacy. We're so glad that you are here. If you enjoyed these conversations where family, faith, and mental health meet, don't forget to like and subscribe and share this episode so that we can reach more people with encouragement and great conversation. So now let's get into today's episode. Today we'll be talking about boundaries. Not necessarily building walls to keep people out, but creating healthy limits that protect your peace, your purpose, and your relationships. So we'll explore the different boundaries. There are porous boundaries where where people have unlimited access to you, rigid boundaries where you keep people out, and then healthy boundaries where you have a healthy look on family, access to yourself, and your mental health. And so the first question we're going to start out with to do our icebreaker that we normally do. Okay, so guys, have you ever avoided setting a boundary because you thought it was the right thing to do?
Yes, all the time. Absolutely.
So do we have an example?
I feel like I'm a people pleaser, so sometimes people ask me to do stuff, I say yes, just because I don't want to disappoint someone or I feel like that's just the right thing to do. So honestly, anytime someone's asked me to do something and I kind of didn't want to do it and I just say yes anyways.
I think it's tough too. I thought about when we were thinking about this episode, I actually thought about you, Deja, because you're here. And I thought about me. So when I ask you to do something, you always say yes. And I can tell when you don't want to do it, but you do it anyway. And so I think, yeah, you definitely have porous boundaries with me because you don't too much.
Dang.
You don't too much tell me no. So then I need to be mindful of it. So the one thing I learned as we were preparing this episode, boundaries are not about pushing people out or blocking people. It's about changing you. You know what I'm saying? And so
And not overextending yourself too. I feel like
yeah.
when you don't have boundaries, you get burnt out.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah.
It's for you just as much as it is for that other person that you're setting the boundary for.
Yeah. I think a lot of times we do it when it comes to family. Because, you hear that's your sister or that's your, brother. You only have one or you don't. And so sometimes you are made to feel guilty if you don't come through.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So,
I think that's like a generational thing that we should break because just because a person, depending on what the situation is, I'm not saying like you have to be mean or be rude, but I feel like it doesn't give a person leeway if that's your sister or brother to, I don't know, whatever the situation is, maybe disrespect or just maybe you just don't feel like doing a certain thing. Like, that's okay. I feel like that should be okay because we're older now and I feel like we're starting to have our own lives and create our own families and things like that. So, I just think it should be important, for us to protect, our mental health and put ourselves first.
Yeah. Is that biblical though? Is that biblical to have a blanket statement of put yourself first? That's what I struggle with. Go ahead.
So in the Bible, it says love others. I think it's like love others. Is it love others as you love yourself or something like that? So it was a season that I was going through and the season was like I felt like I was overextending myself like through family, through friends, and I felt like God was telling me to kind of like, you know, pull away. Just pull away from everything and everybody and literally pour into myself. I did feel like God was telling me that because I feel like before you can pour into someone else or help someone else, you have to be full yourself.
Yeah.
Just like you have your own relationship with God, you have to spend time with God. You know what I'm saying? So that's a part of it, I feel like.
Yes, definitely. So I heard someone say you have to distinguish if something is good or something is God. And something good, you just add that extra O in there. And the enemy likes to do that. He likes to change what's godly. And it may appear good, but that may not be what God has called you to do. So I get that. It's for me with social media, there are so many TikTok videos and Instagram videos where people are, talk about going no contact, talk about protecting your peace and talk about those things. And I think sometimes, yes, there is a place for those things, but sometimes it's not biblical. So that's why it's like, for me, it's finding a balance between being honest, like, thank you for asking me, but no, I'm not able to do that. this time.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't have to
I
be
think it goes
nasty.
into being
Yeah.
kind.
Yeah.
Yeah, still being kind, still being loving. It's how you say things, I think.
Right.
You don't have to be mean about stuff. A kind answer turns away wrath. Like, you don't have to, be like, I'm not doing, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, okay, hey, I feel like this is good for me right now. It's just how you say things at the end of the day. So I do agree with you when you said that. It's good.
And that takes
I
me
mean, you
to
can
another
say
point.
stuff kind, but still
Mhm.
feel like, because with me, I feel like it's hard for me to set boundaries because I feel like if someone asks me for something or to do something and I say no, I feel selfish, kind of. So
Mhm.
for me, I don't really care how I say it or even how it's said to me, because if I say I asked Destiny for something, I'm like, Destiny, can you buy me something for my new apartment? And she says no. I'm going to feel like she's being selfish, but really she's just setting a
Mhm.
boundary.
That's what I was gonna say. Sometimes people can say it nicely, but it's still gonna sting. It's still gonna
Yeah.
sting to the other
And
person.
that's why
So
I
then
don't
the
like to
next
say no.
right. So the next question is, should we allow how the other person receives it keep us from setting the boundary? So if you say, Destiny, can you buy me something? She says no. It stings. So then, Destiny, if you can't afford to buy something, should you still overextend yourself because it's done?
No, because that goes into material boundaries. There's a such thing as material boundaries. And that's like when you're buying and giving more than what you can give.
Mm-hmm.
And that does get old, especially when you have family members that you let borrow money. It could lead into serious things and serious conflict, rather. So you have people that, there's family that maybe ask for money and you're like, okay, as long as you pay me back, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm good. But then it's like, what if they don't pay you back? And you know what I'm saying? Like, cause you always give to them and they take it for granted. So you just have
Mm-hmm.
to be careful, cause you being lenient and not wanting to say no, it could lead to, people just getting
Resentment.
over in a
And
way.
resentment.
Yeah, and resentment.
Dad and I have a rule that if someone does ask to borrow, we lend what we can afford to give away. So if I can't afford to give it and not expect it back, then we don't give it. So we give
Yeah.
the amount that we won't expect back. So then if you don't pay it back, then there's no resentment, there's no bitterness.
Right.
Yeah. So that's something that we agreed to
That's a
years
good
ago.
rule.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is a good rule. Y'all feel like,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, do y'all feel like setting boundaries can like improve a relationship?
I think
Absolutely.
it
In
can.
the long term.
Yes,
In the long term.
it can. But not in the moment. In the moment, it feels tense in the moment when you're like saying, okay, this is what I would like to change. This is my boundary that I'm setting. This is kind of how I feel like we should go in order for this relationship or for this whatever to be healthy or whatever. When you actually do it and you have to start like enforcing that is quite awkward and I don't enjoy that part. But once everyone is kind of used to it, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But at first,
Yeah.
it's not fun.
I read a book, Destiny and I. Deja, I don't know if you read this book, but we read a book called Setting Boundaries, Keeping Your Peace by Nedra Glover
I did read that
Tawwab.
book.
Setting Boundaries, Find Peace. And in that book, she talked about when you initially set boundaries, how the other person may receive it, but that should not deter you from setting the boundary. Like just because the person may be
Mhm.
offended, that should not keep you from setting that boundary. So I appreciated that because it is awkward in the beginning. It is.
But the
Yeah.
more you do it, the easier it'll become.
Mm-hmm.
But that
Yeah.
doesn't mean be really rigid, and that doesn't mean be mean. And I'm not doing that. It
Right.
just have a healthy balance, but still let people know.
Yeah.
And the book also talked about how it is okay that the boundary is new for both parties. So if you have to kind of like remind the other person once or twice, then that's just something that you have to do. And that I think I also struggle with because it's like I already said it one time. I don't want to have to keep repeating myself, but it's new for both parties. So there's also like that piece of like having grace for the other person because while yes, this is your boundary, the relationship was one way before, so they have to get used to this new boundary that you set too.
Right.
So that's, I think, is hard to kind of navigate.
How
ate that
difficult
up.
is
Oh
it
my
for you
God.
guys to set boundaries? And Dawson, you haven't said much, even as the youngest. The youngest person normally doesn't have as a big a voice as parents and older siblings. Have you found it difficult to set boundaries for yourself?
I feel like with like my friends, setting boundaries is kind of easy. Like at first when I wouldn't say easy, it's like very uncomfortable for me because I don't really like confrontation. Like I feel like people think I do, but I don't. Like when I have to be like firm and like strict, like, hey, I don't like when you do da 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 da. It's like, it makes me very like uncomfortable. And yeah, it makes me kind of uncomfortable. But I feel like as more, like when you do it more, when you do it more, like it gets easier and easier. But yeah.
But Dawson, you've had friends where we've had conversations and you were like, oh, I'm going to talk to her and let her know I did not like that she did that. So you
Well,
do
yeah,
have
when
those
I'm really,
moments.
really mad, then yeah.
Yeah, you do really good
Dawson,
with
you
setting
set
boundaries.
boundaries with
Dawson.
us.
Yeah, you
Because you
do.
know how
You're like,
you're
I
the
don't want to
youngest
sit
and you're
with you.
always like, Dawson, give me a kiss, Dawson, give me a hug, Dawson. And you were like, I'm not a baby anymore. I know I'm the youngest, but I'm not a baby. I don't like when y'all do that.
Okay, that's a
Cause
boundary.
So
it's
she sets
like,
boundaries with us,
But you're our baby sister. But yeah, I get it.
I know,
but she
but
doesn't want to be
I'm
the
14.
Do you find it easier to
period.
set boundaries with your family than Dawson than your friends?
Yeah, because with family, it's like, I guess I'm more comfortable with it. Cause if you do
Yeah.
something I don't like, we're gonna have a problem.
With family, well, I guess for me, for y'all, it's like, y'all are my family. Y'all have to love me. Y'all have to love me.
Yeah.
Y'all have to talk to me. With friends, it's like, you have no obligation to still be my friend, to still, so it it makes it a little bit more nerve-wracking to set boundaries with friends, because it's like, if I set this boundary and you don't like it, you could easily just stop talking to me and stop being my friend. If I set a boundary with Destiny, you can't do that. You're my sister. You gotta stay. So I'll set the boundary and we'll work through it. But it just feels easier to do it with family because it's like, y'all love me unconditionally.
But
When
that
friends,
that takes me to another question. If you have a friend and you set a boundary and you feel like they'd stop being your friend if you set a healthy boundary for yourself, do you want them as a friend?
ooh,
I personally wouldn't, because
yeah,
I'm thinking, like, what if it's something like serious? Like, what if it's like, I really need you to consider this. I really need you to respect this boundary. Like, and they get mad because I'm setting a boundary that means a lot to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would question the friendship. It would be a
yeah,
question. It would be a question. First of all, if we're meant to be friends in this season, or if possibly maybe we're growing apart.
yeah,
I don't know. But I think that is one thing that I do have to have in friendships, where you have to respect my boundaries. You have to respect my wishes, because I do want to get married one day. And I do want to have a family and start a family. And so if I'm telling you I don't want or my kids to have something and you give it to them anyway, like, it could get to a place like that. And
yeah.
for me, it's like, no.
It could be and still, like, it could be something where you're saying if it's serious, it could be unserious to them, but it still means a lot to me. And so sometimes when you set a boundary, oh Lord, yes, the birthday. If you set a boundary and then they continuously blur that line, they continuously cross that line, then you have a blurred boundary. And she
Yeah.
talks about that in the book, Set Boundaries, Find Peace, where you
Yeah.
continuously allow people to cross the line and then eventually the boundary is non-existent.
Right.
Then it's no longer respected. So then you have, what do you do in those cases?
In those cases, I feel like I've dealt with something like that with my friends that I had before, where I didn't like the way that they handled conflict. And I would say like, oh, if you keep doing me like that, I'm going to stop being your friend. And then it would kind of happen over and over again. But because I'm kind of a people pleaser, I'm like, okay, we've been friends for so long. And there's good moments too. I would kind of like let it go and like look past it. And then it got to a point where I really did feel disrespected, because it's like, if I'm putting in all the work and I'm telling you that I don't like this and you continuously do this thing that I'm telling you that I do not like, clearly you don't care about the friendship like I do, or you don't care about what I'm saying or what I'm trying to tell you makes me feel more respected. So now we can't be friends anymore because I set a boundary and you keep disrespecting what I said. So that was the first time I think with a friend that I set a boundary and I like actually like stuck with it.
Stuck with it. Yeah.
It,
So
it
how
made
My
me
did you
mama
feel
feel
tell us
after?
all the time.
How did you
Yeah,
feel after
because like
that?
how you tell us all the time. Oh,
Yeah, just real quick, Destiny. Deja, how did you feel after that? You set the boundary and the friendship changed because there's a consequence to not accepting and respecting my boundary. The consequence is now the relationship has changed. How did you get through that?
I was really sad about losing the friendship. I'm not gonna lie. It really did hurt a lot, but it did make me feel good about myself because it's like, okay, I respect myself enough to know what I do and don't deserve. So it feels good to one, not have to put myself in this situation again because it's going to keep happening if I stay in this friendship. But two, also like, okay, you truly do know your worth because you left this friendship in this situation that you didn't like, that you kept, saying things about. And now you don't have to deal with it anymore because you stuck to your boundary. Like if this keeps happening, the friendship's going to be over. That's what happened. So I feel good about it now, but before I was really upset about the friendship being over.
Is there any unforgiveness? Because that's the issue, and that's the spiritual aspect of it. So your mental health, I walked away because it wasn't good for me, but during the spiritual aspect, is there any unforgiveness in your heart towards the friends?
Think so. I feel like that is something that I pray about a lot because I do care about my friendships a lot. So honestly, I feel like when I go up for altar call at church, that's honestly what I pray about a lot is like friendships and removing people out of my life or keeping people in my life. So I talked to y'all about it, of course, but I did pray about it a lot to help with forgiveness. And I do forgive that person. I don't feel any ill, nothing. It's just, it is what it is, honestly. So I think that helped a lot, me actually praying about it and not just acting in my flesh so much because I could have went off and I could have just did the most, but I didn't.
All right.
And I think
Good for
that
you.
helped.
Destiny, what were you going to say?
I was just gonna say, like you taught us to treat people. What was it? Teach people how to treat you. That's what you
Yeah,
teach us. So setting boundaries and sticking to it is a way that you can teach people how to treat you in
yeah,
any relationship. Because
Yeah.
people will only do what you allow. And I don't mean that in a bad way. And I don't mean that to be mean. It's just,
it is what it is.
yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
know who
Queenie.
can set a boundary, and they can sometimes hold a grudge. That Dawson Birch.
I thought
You
we were
do
gonna.
set
I thought we were talking about Destiny.
No, I'm talking about you, especially somebody at school or even a teacher. If they say something off, no, that
Because
you
you're a
don't
grown
like.
person.
Right?
So here's the thing: if you're a grown person and you want to be shady and rude towards me, I'm 14. You're a grown adult. I don't
Period.
hold
Tell her.
grudges, but like, come on.
Tell her.
Like she'll come home from school, and sometimes she'll say, "No, mom, don't do anything." I don't want to make it bigger. But then sometimes she's like, "Yes, I need you to send an email. Yes,
Yeah, like
please
no.
send an
Because they
email
be
because
trying.
I."
They be trying you?
Yes.
So we talked about the mental health aspect. So whatever the most loving thing you can do though isn't saying yes to everyone, but saying yes to what God has called you to do. Because sometimes what people may want you to do and what God has called you to do are different. And sometimes it may seem as though you're being selfish, but that's actually stewardship. So has there ever been a time where you felt led by God to do something which was contradictory to what even me or your dad or family may have wanted you to do?
It's a really good question.
Because even like for you, Destiny, you talk about the first episode, you talked about, well, what if we don't have to come home for Christmas? So what if you feel led to do something different, but then you have the pressure from family to do something else? That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a lot of pressure. I feel like I would just kind of more so do what I feel led to do.
Mm-hmm. You're good about that.
And
Not gonna
then,
lie. I don't think I would have a problem with it because that's God. I'm sorry.
yeah.
that's the Lord. Y'all are like, I don't know. I feel like I would just be like, I feel like the Lord is telling me to do this. And because y'all have your own relationships with the Lord and my friends have their relationship with the Lord, they would understand like, oh, okay, girl, well, you need to do that. Well, that's what you need to do. If you feel like the Lord is leading you to do this, then that's what you need to do. And I think that's why it's really important to have those type of people in your life, because when you have people that don't understand that, I think that's when it gets a little shaky, a little tricky. But because I have people in my life that have their relationship with the Lord and that understand like, okay, if you're being called to do this, then that's what you need to do. It makes it easier to deal with stuff like that, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah. It
yikes.
would just, for me, it would just be praying and fasting and seeing what would be best for our situation. What are we feeling right now? What is best for the season that we're in right now? This is better for the season that we're in, then let's try this. And then maybe we could compromise in a different way with, the other family or whatever. And maybe they understand. And I feel like for the most part, you guys will, because you've been in a situation, Mom, where you're married and you've had to make those hard decisions. And,
What about your siblings? You think your
it's
siblings will be
easy when you have a
understanding?
family that understands.
What about us? Because
I don't
me,
know. Will
Dawson,
they?
RJ, we've never been
They're
married,
right
so how
here.
do you think we will
They're
react?
they right here. Yeah, how? I don't know.
Honestly,
I would be very,
I feel
I'll be
like
very upset.
you gotta do what you gotta do for real. Like, I would be very upset and very sad, but at the end of the day, my feelings don't matter towards what you want to do, you know? Of course, like, I'm your sister and stuff, but if God is calling you to do something, don't, like, let other people's feelings, stand in the way of what God wants you to do. 'Cause that could be, like, a
Okay.
whole entire blessing.
Yeah.
Amen,
I'll
Dawson.
just send you my Amazon wish list, and if I do feel upset, I'll let you know. You could just buy me something off of that,
And
and then
that'll be perfect.
I can't be bought.
Are you soft launching that you're not coming to Christmas?
That's
Is
what
that
it
what it's
seems
going
like.
on? Yeah.
That's what it seems like. You?
I never said that.
It sounds like it.
It sounds like it. I think that too, Dawson.
Christmas is so far gone. Let's just focus on this month.
It's not so far gone.
It's like
It's not so
4
far gone. It's
months.
a few months away.
Let's just focus on school. School is about to start back, guys. Let's just, because I feel like I don't want to say the old church, but I feel like it's how you grow up in a way. Like growing up in the church. What am I trying to say? Come back to me, because I don't know what I'm trying to say right now.
I feel like it's because okay. I think it's because some Christians tend to be a little bit on the judgy side. And they tend to be like, well, if you got this and you're doing this, and if I ask you to do this, then you should be able to do it, because that's what the Lord would have you do. So I think it's kind of like, I think it's that reason, because of other people.
Because
I think because when people say no, for me, it makes me feel like I need to be available to people. And when I'm not available to do something, then I feel like, okay, they don't think I'm a good person. And if I'm saying that I'm a Christian and I'm not available to do this, and I feel like this means I'm not a good person, I feel like those two things don't go together. Like, if I'm a Christian and I'm saying that I love the Lord and that this is the life that I want to live, and at the same time, I feel like me saying no is saying that I'm not a good person, I'm not available or helpful. It doesn't match. And that's why I have a hard time. Like, if someone asks me to do something, I'm just like, especially if it's at church and they ask me to do something, oh, I'm saying yes. Got to. Yeah.
that was good. I like that,
Yeah.
what you said.
That was
Jesus, he did. Yeah, he had people he was intimate with, like you said, and he had people that, like, just the 12 disciples. He didn't share everything with the 12 that he would share with John. What is it, John, Peter? Yes, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say yes, but I feel like I am a people pleaser sometimes.
Me too, Queen.
'Cause like Deja said, I don't wanna like seem like selfish and like oh, I don't wanna do this,
Mm-hmm.
But like sometimes like I don't wanna do it,
Yeah.
But I feel like
Go ahead.
Do it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, right. Seeking approval. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yes. Depending on who it is. I would say I love to block somebody now.
Me too.
It depends on who it is now.
Me too. If I don't want you, think so. Because sometimes you know you're dead wrong. So if you know you're dead wrong, you're calling my phone, texting my phone, I'm going to block you, you know?
Yeah.
Because it gets to a point.
Exactly. Exactly. You're not going to stress me out on my phone. Blocked.
Exactly. And if they're destroying your peace, then I feel like sometimes, yes, you have to protect
Mm-hmm.
yourself and block them, you know? I feel
Mm-hmm.
like it depends on what they did too.
Mm-hmm.
And like who, yeah.
Yeah.
What do y'all define as a healthy boundary? So,
I think a healthy boundary is being able to communicate something that you do not like or communicate something that you think would be helpful to you while also still respecting the other person. That's a healthy boundary. Boundaries is just communication. Communicating.
right, that's good. What about you, Dada? What do you think? How would you define a healthy boundary?
Yeah.
Or
Healthy boundary. Like, I feel like it's like your tone, because sometimes setting a boundary, you don't have to be like mean and nasty about it, because now it's gonna seem like you're checking me and like you're being rude. So I feel like it's
Right.
definitely like your tone of voice and how you say things to people. And also, like, I want to give an example.
Go ahead, sweetie. Go ahead, sweet girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, especially like if, let's say, like you and your friends, like y'all are joking, and like one day, like the joke is like it hits below, not hits below the belt, but like you're not in the mood for joking, and then you go off on them. I feel like it's healthy to, and you know that you don't like the way you guys like joke. So I feel like it's healthy before like you like everything, like you keep everything inside, and then one day they say something, it all like blows up. I feel like it's healthy to, set that boundary early instead of waiting later until something big happens to set the boundary.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah. So, Mom, did you have anything to add?
What
The
a healthy
question was,
boundary.
how do you define? Yes.
I think a healthy boundary is, like you said, when you set a boundary, not being mean spirited. So, for example, if someone says something off putting that hurts your feelings and they, I was just joking. Well, you know what? That hurt my feelings. Please don't say that again. Boundary.
Mm-hmm.
Someone puts their hands on you, even like you, Dawson, someone puts their hands on you at school or says something you don't like, you know what? I don't like when you touch me. Don't do that again. Boundary.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I didn't yell, I'm not cursing, I'm not going off. I'm just letting you know, like, that's a boundary for me. I think those are healthy boundaries. So
And it doesn't have
and
to be
doing
a
it,
long.
yeah. And not waiting until it, it builds up and then I'm gonna explode. So that's why I think setting boundaries are so important and communicate. Now that is something I am always teaching y'all. It's so best to communicate in the beginning, because if you don't
Yeah, don't wait.
communicate and it builds, and you're gonna explode and it's gonna be a whole thing. So it's
Honestly, I feel like we had a really good discussion about boundaries. I learned a lot. Let's just hope I'm able to set them.
we hope so. I hope so. So we know that Jesus loved equally, yet all people did not have the same level of access, and so we can learn a thing or two from him. So this was a great discussion about setting boundaries. We hope you guys learned something from us, because we definitely learned a lot of things from this particular episode. So don't forget to like and subscribe and share our channel, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Guys, thanks.
Hit that follow button.
Bye. You ate that. Thank you.